Hi, this is Damien Ray AtHope, and I am an Axiological atheist, and I'm here with the guest, who I'm really excited to introduce to you. Could you please tell us your name and tell us what great things you're doing?
Hi, Damien. Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Karla Cauldwell, and that's an interesting question. What are all the great things I'm doing? I don't know that I feel that I'm doing great things, but I can speak to what I feel really driven about and what inspires me. So I am I'm a mother of 3, a wife of 15 years, a nurse, a health coach, and a lifelong mission of just having a great desire to inspire wellness within everyone I encounter. And I do that in different ways. Basically, wherever I am, I try to meet the need of the environment and the people I'm around, because everyone's different, every setting is different, and in my calling, it's not about what I think everyone needs. I really try to tune in to what is needed of me and match my skill set to the need that is presented in front of me.
Yeah, I think that's really wonderful, and I personally think that you are doing good, so I'll go ahead and talk for you. How's that?
Okay.
I'm a real champion of kindness, or I try to be a champion of kindness, and I really like people that put the effort out to be kind in the world, because to me, it's almost like a default. It feels like, to me at least, that the world often, feels it's not necessary to put effort to kindness, or that kindness is a weakness, or that people that exude kindness are not, as you were saying, not really doing great things in the world. I disagree. I see heroes every single day. There are people that are acting with thoughtfulness, kindness, compassion, people that are being tolerant, understanding. Man, these are heroes. These are people that are making a difference in the here and now. It's not theoretical, not maybe tomorrow. It's now. If you make me smile today, that could make, I'm saying, me feel more inspired to what I do. I'm a very busy, stressed out person, and I like seeing your happy videos. They make me feel good. So you are doing good. I'm just saying, I like it because it's very genuine. I love genuine. I love when people really honestly are communicating, honestly caring, honestly adding something. I think that there's too much plastic, there's too much fake, there's not enough quality. And I really appreciate you for adding quality in the world. So to me, I don't know how that's not great.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess I just feel that I feel very blessed in what I do, and what I do has more saved me than it feeds my soul when people tell me that I made a difference to them, but in all honesty, I don't always think that what I'm doing is so great just because what I am driven to do literally saves me from myself and from my mental jungle of I've dealt with a lot of depression in my life and a lot of different challenges. And so when I stay in tune with my desire to serve, I feel better and I'm healthier.
Oh, I agree.
Happier.
And that's even scientifically, we already know that when you do kindness, is you actually add years to your life. Not just like a happier mood, but actually because it removes the as I'm sure as a nurse you understand, like a lot of stress on the heart. It also psychologically, you're talking about depression, the more that we feel like this, the bondage of anxiety and stress and stuff, In other words, like it doesn't leave. Like say you're talking about being depressed. It doesn't leave in a sense. But when you did the kind action, you produced something positive in the world. It counteracted the burden that the depression puts on you. But as like I said, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I feel like it does the same thing to others though. Because see,
yes.
Because like I said, I feel like you're offering, your real self, and in that moment, that's when I can connect. Because then I hear the real self in me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so grateful. Well, that's what I want. That's what I want too. I've discovered that the depression, the addiction, the darkness wasn't the real me. It wasn't the core me. And so I want to inspire that within others, their own healing mechanisms, their own. My greatest wish every day is to inspire others to empower themselves, to love themselves, and to be of service in their own way, their own unique way, because that is very healing. And so I agree with what you're saying. It's been my experience too.
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, I have a nerve damage in my foot from a truck accident. I had massive depression because I went from a job where I was making, like $150,000 a year to making zero.
Oh wow!
And then I was also owner operator, so that means that I had, in a sense, no insurance. Once at the, I have weekly payments of like $800 for my big rig. And I have no money, and I'm going to have to get rid of this. Luckily, someone bought the big rig from me. But I mean, I talk about stress and then all of a sudden now I can't do the one profession I've been doing for the last 12 years or whatever. Now I what do I do? So that's when I tried to go to school, and that's when I started becoming more educated. But I'm just talking about depression and stress, like the bondage of that feeling of, number one, not being crippled, can't move. Number two, then I lose my job. Then all these bills, all this stuff. It's just like, I was the first time in my life I really felt depressed. But I found the same thing as you, though, that it was actually me just telling people, I can't take it. It's too much. I just being genuine and honest, that then people were like, oh, I'll help you. And oh, really? That's all it took? Just asking?
Well, that, and I wonder in hindsight, was that not one of the most greatest things that may have happened to you? Because it sounds like you're more in line with your purpose now.
I would say it really made me a lot more humble in the fact of how I approach things. What really matters? I mean, it really, all of a sudden when everything's taken away from me, I'm like, okay, I'm back at square one. What really matters? Is it really all this stuff? Is it money? Is it whatever, security? What really matters? And I realized, you know what? That's why I tell people that I realized we rise by helping each other. I realized that when all of a sudden I had to depend on people all the time. I'm like, wow, I really am a lot less, 'cause I always thought I'm strong, and then all of a sudden I can't even stand, can't even go to the bathroom by myself. It's demoralizing like I've never had in my life. And it gave me like I also understood the value of care ethics in a way I had never really understood. And I realized pretty much almost anybody appeals at some point to care ethics being reasonable. I mean, like I always tell people, no matter what you think your morality is, do you believe it's unethical for a mother or a guardian to only care about the child in exclusion of someone else? In other words, like if a mother could have medicine and heal a child, but to give that medicine only to her child would be removing the chance of medicine for, say, multiple other people. Is it unethical? And the answer is no. A caregiver has a responsibility to them that they care for. I really understood this differently, and then I realized, well, then that really is the core of all morality. Then it has to be is care, really, because if you reduce it, that's the one thing that no matter what other morality you add on top of it, almost everybody believes you should care for who is, you're a guardian over, and that really helped me see that care, like what you're doing. I'm saying the value of it. the value of care is so much broader and so much more important than I realized. The value of kindness is like wellspring of life that I just never realized. And that's why I'm saying what you give to the world is a lot more than you realize, because it is a serious joy to the world to be given this to me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. I accept it. And I think that it's very infectious when we can, it's infectious in a way that's not overbearing. I'm thinking of most every settings I've worked in can be a little negative. Nursing, there's a lot of stress.
Yeah, I bet.
And I don't work at the bedside anymore, but I'm in an office with a lot of very stressed people. And I have found that just by smiling, like if you start with just a smile and looking someone in the eye and a genuine compliment, I'm always looking for, it's a lens of looking for recognizing beauty in others, recognizing accomplishments, recognizing anything good. And I notice, and then offering and giving, even if it's just like a cup of tea or listening. And the other day I was noticing in my office that people will come into my office just to breathe. It's very interesting. And it's one of my greatest accomplishments, I think, that ability to help people feel safe and to feel welcomed and to then model, because I see, I had this lady, she was a tough nut to crack. I'm going to tell you, she was not happy.
Oh, yeah.
And yesterday she came to my office to offer me tea, which I thought, wow,
thoughtful.
That's huge. I thought that was really good. I felt called to tell you that story for whatever reason.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I think that we always feel like that we have to do something big. I know this one person said, if I had a lot of money, I would change the world. And I said, you can change the world now.
Right. I agree.
And because my opinion is that I looked out at the world and I said, the world is not friendly. So I decided to be a friend. I realized the world does not care. So I realized I need to care. I see the world not valuing others. I realized then I need to value others. Because I see that the world that I wish to live in starts with me. And like I said, that's what I feel like you're doing also.
Thank you. Yes, I love what you're saying, because we so create our own heaven or hell at all times. And I love what you're saying. I believe, I hear a lot of people tell me this world is a dark place, this is happening, that, and I don't see that, Damien. I really don't. And it fascinates me. I was speaking to a coworker, and she, I mentioned that my perception of someone we were speaking about was that he's so kind because he always says bless you when people sneezes.
Oh, yeah.
And it fascinated me because she had never heard him say that. What her perception was is that he always yells at people. And I thought it was funny because I've never heard him yell at anyone.
Yes.
And I imagine that the truth lies right in the middle between both of what our perceptions are. But I think when we see the positive, my day goes really nicely thinking, wow, this person is always blessing people. Or seeing, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how it is I do it, but I literally just do not hear, to me it's noise, the negative. I see the positive. And it may seem like I'm a bit of a Pollyanna dreamer, but I don't see any bad coming from that. I really feel that there's no harm in seeing all the good, and there's a lot of it out there.
Well, I think that it reminds me of emotional intelligence, right? So emotional intelligence is the ability, in a sense, to utilize emotions in a very productive way, generally. So, in other words, like that doesn't mean just my emotions; it's emotions of others. So it's being able to read and assess the emotions of others and utilize them, in a sense, in the most positive way. So, in a sense, you could be looking at someone that has negative qualities, right? And you could also like look at the attributes that they have, and then I agree with the what I do with the positive. When I see positive characteristics, I wish to promote those.
Yeah.
Because that way, then those things flourish in the person. Instead of, I agree with you, instead of like just telling you you're doing this wrong and that wrong and that wrong and that wrong and that wrong as somehow a way to make people change, I see there's also a humongous benefit. Yeah, but you're doing that right and that right and that right. Keep doing that behavior as a because I feel like it's so easy to just be critical. And but I realize that to me, if I'm just pointing fingers, I'm wasting some of my time that I should be doing helping hands. And I think that if I look at which is more important, is it only important to point fingers, or is it important to actually make positive help in the world? It's hard for me to just keep wanting to point fingers because I know that the real change is actually going to happen a lot of times in the helping.
Right, and why are we here really holding people accountable? Why are you here? I imagine you're here to do my favorite thing to do in my nursing work is I've always worked with populations of people that are labeled difficult. Mm. So maybe they're very sick physically. There's usually a lot of poverty involved, mental health, and just a lot of negative experiences and energy. And these are my favorite people to work with because they are labeled as non-compliant and almost there's a loss of hope. Mm. But every time, it never fails, given a compliment, listening, with both my ears, listening to the person, looking them in the eye and acknowledging that they matter and that they are a person worth listening to. I've never not been able to partner with the person for their own health so that they can know healing. I'm not saying that they heal completely, but I just encountered non-compliance.
Yeah, I understand. Well, first off, to me, wellness is different than health to me. Health, in other words, somebody could be in physical health, but their mental wellness may be just garbage. You know, saying, or they can be in very physical poor health, but their mental wellness is wonderful. It's like a a life-giving tree or something. I mean, so I don't think that they're totally connected. I think it'd be great if we could be both healthy and well, but that doesn't always seem to work out in life. That you have both those at a continual thing. So at some point you're not going to be healthy and well. But so that's why I think it's important that we do work with each other, because at any given time, let's say you're depressed and someone else I'm not, or I'm depressed and you're not. I mean, so I think that when we stop, for me at least, stop feeling like I have to do everything alone, or there's some kind of like extra special glory you get by doing it alone. I used to feel like it was just ridiculous.
Yes, I relate to that.
I'm better if I never ever ask for help. Well, how ridiculous. I'm here drowning and people are throwing life things. I'm like, no, stop it. I want to do it alone. Why? I mean, it's just arrogant, stupid.
I understand. I'm that person too a lot. But we are never alone. I've never found myself to be alone. I've chosen to be alone, but I've never been alone. I think that's very, very different.
and you've also made sure that you didn't stay alone, because look, you produced a book. Let's talk about that book that you did. So you produced a book and you do videos. I don't think that you're doing anything about being alone. I think that you're actually doing the opposite. I think you're not only not being alone, I think that what you're offering allows people to connect, which is a nice thing instead of, a negative.
No, it is good. Sometimes, though, I'll be very honest, I love that I get to connect with people, and I do on a daily basis. I'm gifted with connecting, and but because I have no tolerance for time wasters and negativity, it can be a little lonely. And what I mean by that is I hold myself accountable at a really high level. I am not perfect by any means, but I'm always trying to I have children and I'm married, and so daily that's where my worst self tends to come out. And so I'm always working on that. And with the people I allow into my life, that close circle, I cannot tolerate if we're speaking ill of others. It's just not truthful to me, and it's a waste of time. And so because of that, sometimes it can be a little lonely. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I totally understand, because I am a different, like in my situation, I live in Seattle, and the type of atheist that they are here is different. I'm from California, and I moved up here because my wife lost her job, and then I was a truck accident, so I couldn't work, so I had to move. And I feel like I try to be understanding of how they see things, and I feel like they want me to be like them, which is, they can want that. I can't do that, or do I desire to. So I feel very alone, but it's so weird for me, because it's the moment that they're doing that, I have like 100,000 fans all over the United States. I had one person drive. I went to a convention. A guy, he drove 150 miles to see me. Didn't even care about the convention. Beautiful. So, I mean, because I try to be really caring of people. It's just so bizarre to me how these, some people, like you're talking about, some people do not like me, and I don't know exactly what it is that I need to do that they feel like I need to do to be different for them. And then I have other people who absolutely love me. It's so weird to me how you can have some people totally connect with who you are and see the quality, and some people, no matter how often you tell them, no matter what you do, it's like because it's so weird. Like, cause I'm going to do a presentation, and it's like archaeological and history and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, not interested. Yet I'm going to be flying, to London to an archaeological, anthropological conference to do a presentation. It's just weird to me. But I see what you're saying, because I think that if you just have a certain standard of how you're going to live your life, it's hard to fit other people into that. So I would try to feel like this: the more that I see that other people do it to me, I try to be okay. Then I need to be more understanding if possible, more compassionate as possible. Then I got to look at myself. Do I judge people too harshly? Maybe I'm doing the same thing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to prejudge. It's so easy to look at somebody, prejudge. So they say whatever they think, look like, and I'm really trying to go, you know what? Every time something happens to me that makes me think that, I need to feel, feelings, like you were talking about negative feelings, I try to think of it the other way. Okay, what is I learning from this? I'm not saying that they're in a sense doing anything wrong by wanting a certain standard. They can, but I'm just saying, am I being inclusive? That's what I'm talking about. I go, okay, because I don't feel like I'm being included. But instead of making it and choosing to see that as some sort of a negative, I see it as exact opposite. Okay, I need to be more inclusive. I need to be more caring, more open, more understanding. I need to be more tolerant. It just makes me realize how I see other people do stuff, and I go, how do I want to be? Not even if they can't be that, but how is it that I want to present myself? How do I do? And that's what I'm saying. I feel like the way you're presenting yourself is appealing to me. It's the way I would like to be more of. I'm not saying that you don't have issues at home. Everybody can get upset. I'm just saying.
I'm very, very human.
Yeah.
That's a part of what allows me to connect with people and be a part of their healing journey, is that I am so transparent about the realities and the illusions that I create for myself. I mean, that's the whole basis of my book, was how I really healed myself. And some aspects of me are very idea, people oriented, and then I have an analytical part of me that looks at systems.
Cool.
So when I wrote my book, it was dissecting, what did I do?
Well, sorry, can you tell us what the book is, so people that don't know?
Yes, I'm sorry. I actually even have it.
Yeah, go show it.
So you can see. Live your best life. And,
right on, thank you. I just want you to keep talking about the book, and then you'd never even showed anybody.
I know. Thank you for interrupting me. Thank you. It's Live Your Best Life. I took this picture. I love the picture.
Right on.
And it's just a practical and effective guide for implementing 5 critical life choices in order to experience success in all aspects of our lives. And I connect with people because I use myself. First, I'm the guinea pig. I try to figure out, how can I solve, because I've found that we are all so alike. We're way more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to figure out how to organize myself to be physically healthy, mentally, spiritually, you may have a different situation that's unique to you, but there are universal laws that if you apply to yourself, you will also experience the same physical and mental, emotional healing that I did. And I found that's very important, that there are universal laws, and yet we are unique in our own way.
Yeah.
So there's room for both.
Well, yeah, and I think that a universal thing is that we all flourish under kindness. I mean,
yes.
I just, like I said, I mean, I really feel like I've missed most of my life not appreciating just the power of it. What's interesting to me is that, for me, I was in a drug rehab and looking at going to a psych hospital for violence and drug addiction at 17. And it was actually why I changed. Was a feminist therapist, and she just treated me with kindness, and then she explained what she was doing and why to do it. And it was so weird because and she even said, everybody at the hospital wants to send you to a 72-hour lockdown, straitjacket lockdown.
Yeah.
You know.
And she said, "We need to do better."
And she said, right, but she said, but I realized that you haven't been listened to. I realized that you're just trying to be heard, that you just, no one's ever really cared, and she said that to me. I just felt like, I don't know, all the anger deflated. It's like, oh, wow, somebody's caring. Wait a minute. What the heck is going on? It was like the weirdest feeling I felt, at that time, because most of my life had been child abuse and violent. I was raised in Los Angeles. I've been, shot at. I was jumped by gang members at a school outing at 13 at a zoo. I mean, I'm just saying. So my life has been a lot of violence, lot of stuff. And myself, of course, I lived in violence, so I started being violent. But at the moment that she did that, and I felt like it was just undeserved kindness, because I really felt like she was right. I really did deserve to go to a psych hospital. I really did, because my behavior was out of control. But it was actually her not threatening me, but her kindness that broke me. If she'd have threatened me, I'd have been ready to fight. But I was so ready to fight, and she didn't fight. I was so ready for anger, and she felt no anger. I was so ready for hate, and all I felt is love. And it changed me. I was like, I want some of that. I want whatever that is, man. I want a whole world of that. And so I realized, there that I want to be different. I really want to change. And it took 20 years of counseling, but
well, it takes time, and this is why I love working with the people I choose to work with. I like working with the people that have been deemed, nothing's going to work for them. I love hopeless situations because of what you just said. It's not that hard. It's not, if we just see the common ground and try to build a bridge, and then we acknowledge and listen. I mean, the power of listening is incredible, and really seeing someone and not telling them they're wrong. Just saying, wow, that must have been hard for you.
Yeah,
I think the power of that can change anyone. I mean, I just see it every day, and I love it when people tell me, I wouldn't even waste any time over there with that situation, that person, that department, whatever it is, because it's hopeless. We've tried everything. I feel like, all right, send me in.
Yeah, right on.
And I don't do anything that crazy. It's not. Honestly, the people solve their own problem. It's just, I believe, having a presence there to model, this is how you can listen and see each other, and this is how we can build a bridge. That's, but they solve their own problems.
Well, yeah, I think that we inspire people to believe in themselves, and that's what I think that, like her doing kindness, I believe myself. For the first time, I believed maybe I don't have to be this way.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Because all my life, it's like everyone had only showed me that violence is the way to solve life. I mean, that's all I knew. And so if someone came and told me, yeah, you don't need to do that. And I was like, I don't? I can do life different? I mean, I know it sounds stupid to some people maybe, but
no.
When you don't know anything, like you said, to model, I didn't even know that was an option. What, kindness is an option?
Did you get to tell her what a difference she's made?
No.
Oh, no. I hope you do someday.
Oh, I hope so, but I don't know that it was the care unit of Orange, and it went bankrupt and stuff, so I wouldn't even know how to. But I still appreciate, and I try to help people, and I don't do it so that they would come and thank me. I mean, it'd be cool if they did, but I just do it because it's right to do, just like her. Yes. Of course, I don't know what she was thinking, but I was hoping that it was all positive, and she just said, wow, there's a person I can help, and she did. So and it certainly did help me. And like I said, I thought that really, a couple times in my life, people just profound kindness, and I realized those are the greatest things. If I look back at my life, what's the things that make me the happiest? It's not when I was angry. It's not when I was violent. It's when I was in the moment, like you said, listening, caring, really connecting, spending, quality time with somebody in joy and kindness. Those are things that the happy memories.
That's wonderful.
So have you? Good. I was gonna say. So have you had some people give you some good feedback from your book? I'd like to hear about it.
Yes, I have gotten some. I'm a first-time author, so I'm very small right now. But I would love my book to reach millions of people. But it's not up to me. I feel like it's up to anyways.
Well, hopefully it's up to the show.
But, well, I've done some book signings at Barnes & Noble. Cool. And I've done some radio shows. And what I'm really excited about is I wrote this book thinking that people like me would gravitate to it. You know, people who want to be well, have a talent to share with the world. And what I'm finding that's really amazing, the people who are gravitating to my book, a few maybe like me, but a lot of people in recovery.
Right on.
So right now, there are 2 facilities that may be using my book for people in recovery, which makes sense now because this book, in essence, was my journey through recovery, my own. And people who've lost a loved one, this book has been helpful to them. And then my book has been sent many times to, parents have been sending it to their children overseas in the military.
Oh.
And that's really exciting to me because these people are young and I don't know that they would read my book normally or have the patience for it, but because they're kind of captive audiences,
right,
they're getting, and I think that's really, really excellent. And, So it's growing slowly but surely, but the publishing world, there's a lot to learn.
Oh, I know. I understand that. I'm doing my own book. I turned in my manuscript to only be told that I need to get references from my written permission for references from my 2,000 references of archaeological journals, and some of them are translated into English. I was like, what?
You just need to self-publish.
So that's what I was like, that's why I think I'm going to have to do is I was like, yeah, that's not even reasonable. I mean, I'm citing them. It's not like I'm plagiarizing. You're just saying I have to have written permission from each. What? Anyway, so yeah, and also that I learned too that there's certain the amount of stuff that you can quote, but there's a certain amount that if you quote, it's too much. But then also learned that when it comes to plagiarism, is that's different than copyright. Copyright law doesn't have any law. In other words, you could get in trouble for one quote or a half a book. You could write half a book and be fine, and then one quote and go to jail or be sued. So there's no, in a sense, I'm like, wow, that's why they wanted to have written permission, because there's no fixed standard for what's a copyright violation, kind of. And since my book is very nonfiction, it has tons of references, I'm like, I felt like I was drowning. At first I cried. I felt like this is overwhelming. It
is overwhelming.
Like, I just worked for like 3 years and you're telling me that it's not good enough? And now I've worked another 2 years and I'm probably going to be another, a total of 3 years. So 6 years for the book that I thought was going to be 3 years. Like, oh.
It's a beast. And I wish you luck. And I self-published mine through Balboa Press.
Yeah.
So they're a division of Hay House. And it's almost like you're getting published because you get access to, my book can be at Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But the downside to that is they don't help you at all. But when you sell your book, they take all the profit. So it's a very fascinating journey. I'm learning. I figure by the 3rd book I'll have it down.
Well, I hope so. And like I said, no matter what it does, I already feel like you're producing quality, so you should feel happy about that.
Yes. No, it has already, honestly, one person saying that it meant something to them, that's just ego wanting beyond that. I mean, I have my human desires. I would love to be on the New York Times best-selling list, but I also have my journey and my mission, and that book was not about a New York Times bestseller list. It was something that came through me and needed to be put out there, even if no one read it. So,
well, and that's why I think it also is why it has quality, because it wasn't written as a package. It was written from the heart, and which I think in that sense, that is a great way to write that kind of book.
Yes, yes, it just had to come out. I'm writing my second one right now, and it's the same thing. Every day I ask myself, who am I to be writing this second? Because the second book is it's more about how to cope, how to build coping strategies, how to handle grief, how to work through the darkness.
Wonderful.
I'm excited about it, but again, I have that, it's just a dance. It's the whole dance where I'm called to write it, I'm meant to write it, but there's a lot of doubt too, so.
Yeah, I don't really have the doubt issue for me. I understand that you feel that. I don't have the doubt issue for me. What I feel is that that I have to do more. Whoa, you dropped out for a second. You cut out for a second.
I'm so sorry.
You're back. Anyway, so I was
on there. I apologize for that.
No problem. I forgot what I was saying now, but anyways.
You were telling me you don't feel the doubt.
Oh, I don't feel the doubt. I feel like I have to do more because they don't believe in me unless I prove it. In other words, like
right.
They don't think that I'm as knowledgeable on archaeology, or they don't think I'm as knowledgeable on philosophy or whatever. And because I don't have schooling in it, I'm an autodidact in those areas. I have a bachelor's in psychology, and I took 7 classes in my master's for psychology, and then I dropped out because I wanted to decide to write a book and do other stuff. But
I don't blame you. But so who's they?
Well, what I'm saying about they is that people in my community.
In your community.
In other words, what I'm saying is are archaeologists. So I know that an archaeologist, the first thing they need to do is, do I have an archaeology degree? No. Have I have any field training in archaeology? No. You see what I'm saying? So I know that because I have a couple of friends that are archaeologists, and it's not that they eventually don't agree that I have some knowledge, but I feel like that sometimes the academics, because that's what I'm addressing, is the academics. Academics.
Oh, I see.
Appeal to other academics. I mean, in other words, like if I talk to a person who has a doctorate in philosophy and I don't have even a class in philosophy, they think that I have to, in a sense, prove myself before they understand that I can talk at that level. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand, and I imagine your book might not be for them. I mean, it might be for...
Oh, that is true.
For the rest of us who might want to learn from... I find that when you read books by experts, it's another language. So if I write in my medical language, it's not going to be for the public. It's going to be for everyone else. But if I write my book based on experience and a different lens, it then becomes accessible to everyone, to the public. So I don't know. I'm filtering myself. It's interesting. I'm watching myself filter myself.
Yeah. Well, it happens depending on who we're talking to, you know. And it's also, I would say that it just proves your thoughtfulness because to me there's several different reasons we could filter ourselves. One is because we're actually trying to work in the communication of the other. We could do it because we're actually fearful of self. Or to me, we could do it because we're actually trying to hide. So I doubt you're trying to hide. So it's probably one of the other reasons.
No,
right?
I'm trying to be respectful of you and your audience.
See? I understand. Like I said.
Right. It's hard, though. It's hard to be because at some point, someone's going to get offended because you can't. It's really interesting. The whole...
well, I don't easily get offended, so...
That's good. You probably wouldn't. I think that... and that'll be another conversation. I would love to have a philosophical conversation with you.
Oh, definitely. That is something that I'm quite good at, actually. Philosophical conversations. In fact, I actually have blog on it and how to do, because what I call is truth navigation. That's what I do. I do truth navigation because I don't assume from the beginning that I am the only one that has the possibility of truth. Number one. So I already assume that I can be a learner as much as a teacher. So, and I don't think that those are mutually exclusive. In other words, like I could teach you just now, and then the next moment you could teach me, and I need to be just as open to learn as I desire to teach. I mean, that's my mentality. So I start with the idea that we're going to do together truth navigation. It's not me telling you. It's not you telling me. I'm talking about how I investigate philosophic ideas. And I try also to take an idea and down to its reducible, down to its smallest parts. What I mean by, let's say kindness. So we take kindness and we just remove every other thing attached to kindness, and we let it go like a balloon, just floats free in the air. And then where does it go? And then I see, what does it tend to lean towards? Like, well, kindness produces this. Kindness does this. Then I assess, well, then would kindness be a good thing? Well, of course it is. Look at what it produces. Look at what its benefit or whatever. So I start to see it, the qualities of a thing removed from all the emotions. Then I can add the stuff in and see all the layers that go on top of, in a sense, what that idea is. Because it does multiple things in multiple ways to multiple people. But like you were talking about, the universal truth can go down that what this thing is almost what you were talking about, of respect. Kindness is a behavior. It's an action that we do in the world, I realize. Now, compassion, I feel, motivates kindness. So then I got to think, what gives compassion? See, because if something is reducible to this thing. So for me, what it is I start to see the world different for me. How I can do all this other stuff. I see you as a fellow dignity being, not a female, not your beliefs, not where you're living, just a fellow dignity being, someone of equal value. See, when I do that, I can have compassion for you, for me. I'm not saying everyone else should do it this way or this is the only way. I'm just saying this is how I do it. So I see you as a dignity being. Once I do that, everything else removed, I already feel connected to you. Everything else is just like an add-on, like Legos, whatever, it's just extra stuff. It's not, but it's qualities that in a sense are you, but what matters first to me, most core, is you are just like me. Fellow dignity being, someone worthy of respect, of honor, of value. Because I do that, it makes it so much easier for me to care about people, because I stopped seeing, you as so different.
Right, we're not very different, but in the same breath, I love differences. I really, I have to tell you that the people I love most are all very, very different in their upbringings and their religious, spiritual beliefs, and their philosophies and parenting.
Right.
And that has really helped me because it challenges me. I mean, if I'm just spend time around people who are like me, which I haven't really met many,
yeah.
but then I don't.
So how would you describe you then? Since you said you haven't met many people that like you, so then could you tell me just a real quick synopsis? What's you, so that I could understand what that means?
I feel like I could be a walking contradiction in a lot of ways. So,
okay.
I'm very curious. I love people, but I also really need to be alone a lot. So there's that aspect. I'm very, very driven. I'm obsessed to the point of obsession with wellness and people, and why aren't we well? So I don't feel called to, I cannot sit still. I mean, I'm sitting now, because we're engaging, but I can't watch television really because I'm obsessed with reading and listening and studying, and not because I just can't be any other way. So it's a little different. My beliefs make me a little different. I'm religiously spiritual is what I would call it. I call that which connects us all God, and I'm obsessed with it. I've been in love with God since I was like 0.
Yeah.
But I don't fit in to culturally, I'm Catholic, and I love the rosary, I love the ritual, but do I fit in there when I go to church? No. And when most Catholics hear my beliefs, because I don't believe anyone is wrong in their beliefs, whether they believe in God or not, I feel like they're all just different languages to the same place is how I feel. That's a little different. And
I feel like a lot of people. A lot of people say spiritual, not religious. For me, studying like anthropology of religion is like the classifications in a sense of types of religious. To me, when you explain it like that, what I hear is animism. Animism is the belief that, in a sense, everything is connected, everything has a life and energy. You know, like a lot of people say Mother Earth, in a sense, that mentality is animism. And to me, I see all religion, in a sense, and spiritual thinking as a version of animism. Just depends on how developed it is. In other words, like it's animism plus it adds totemism, shamanism, paganism, and then they call that organized religion. But it actually has some of all of that. In other words, to me, archaeologically, in my studies, about 100,000 years ago, we can trace human burial and the belief in the sacred. It probably came from Neanderthals to me. That's my opinion, because we interacted with them, and they were already burying since almost 250,000 years ago. They were burying their dead in a very sacred way that we then copied something very close to that. And they actually buried humans first, and then we later buried humans ourselves in Africa, South Africa, and in Israel at 100,000. So to me, that's animism right there. So animism to me starts off very kind of like feministic and egalitarian and sort of like everything is okay, everything generally kind of, they're almost like, to me, like a hippie mentality. I watched the one thing just to show you, like, I respect people that can be animists, because at least how they approach life. It makes me go, wow, because animists approach life way more connected in a sense that everybody else does. Like, and how they approach it is just, it's unique to me. I like it. And the fact, I don't believe in the magical thinking to be, but I like the approach. The approach is a better approach. It's kind of like hippie-ish, sort of. So, like, I've seen that. Well, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying it like that. Like, peace and love is what I meant, you know. So, it's that people say peace and love, and it's kind of religious. It's probably animism. So, animist, I've seen this wonderful explanation about why animist thinking actually is not something that we shouldn't, in a sense, kind of want. Because I've seen these people in Africa, right? They're Bushmen, and they're animists. And there's this one guy, he's an anthropologist, he's going to go with them, and, you know, they're going to show him how they get meat, okay? Because he's going to live with the tribe for a little while. So they goes, we're going to go out and get meat from and they said, oh, great, we're going to go hunting. And they said, yeah, but we're not going to kill anything. What? Yeah, we're going to let the lion do it. I'm like, what? The lion's gonna kill something. We're going to take its food. Some of it. Not all of it. The guy's like, what? I go, oh yeah, we're going to get 7 guys, and we're just going to walk real slow, chanting, walk towards the lion really respectfully after it kills. What we do, and they explained it, it just blew my mind. They said that we live in symbiosis with the animals and with all nature. We don't see.
I love that.
We don't see nature as aggressive against us, but we just work inside of what nature is. But so what they did, they said that they wait till the lion attacks. The lion sees them, that they just wait. They don't bum rush him. They let the lion eat a little bit. Then once it's at a little bit of it's calmed down, then they approach. And they approach slowly to warn. That's what the guy said, are you yelling to scare it? No, we're warning. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming. were coming so that he has a chance. Then the lion was crazy. They get like halfway. I don't remember how many. They'd be 300 feet away. And the lion stops eating, right? And it gets up and it does like a cat. Ever seen a cat when it's done eating? It like kicks dirt on things, or the lion kicked a little dirt on him, looks at him, like tilts his head like, okay, I will let you have it, and walks off, lets them come and take it. They go, we're going to take the leg, right? And they left the rest of the body. And the guy's like, aren't you going to take more? I said, no, we don't want it to. See, because they know they want to come back another day and take another leg and do this for the rest of their lives. Because the lion never thinks it's going to lose, so it never fights. I was like, wow. They never hurt the lion. They never used a weapon. They just chanted. I could not believe it. Most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it reminded me.
Well, that is my quest right now. That I feel like that's the missing link. I can feel people. I can feel these connections. But nature is a little bit of a mystery. And so this year has been, my intention has been, I want to feel the changes of the seasons the way some people who are in tune do. I'd like to feel, I've been studying the moon and the placement of, that's a whole nother conversation, but I'm trying to be connected. I desire that connection you're speaking to, and I am a complete novice.
Well, there's a great book on, I can't remember now. I have it. I can't remember what it's called. Animism something. I can show you the link. It's
oh, please do.
Because it's an anthropologist. I think it's called the New Anism or something like that. It's called Reclaiming the Anism or something. But anyways, I thought it was pretty interesting because he talks about all these people that in the past had all these like negative. Because see, a lot of opinions of animists used to be they're simple-minded, they're stupid, they're not important. But this guy was like, no, actually, that's all wrong. These people are holistic. They're usually, way more into nature and caring for things. Like, in a sense, what I'm saying is, like you're talking about Catholic. So people in like organized religions think they're superior to any other form of religion, which is ridiculous. Especially, like I said, if we just looked at what it produces, who produces, in a sense, more goodness and well-being? Because like you're talking about the Catholics, to me, the Catholics are really good at producing guilt. I mean, it's not something that I've invented. I mean, this is... So it's interesting because an animist would be the exact opposite. An animist would be like, no, the world is wonderful. I need to learn how to connect properly to it. And then when I could operate...
So I'm an animist Catholic. How ironic is that? This is what I'm telling you. I'm a walking... But I'm not, I can't... Anyways, Catholics wouldn't claim me, but I do like to go there. And I love to pray the rosary. But I wanted to share you a funny story because my title at work, I work for the Veterans Health Administration.
Right on.
And my title is Health Promotion Disease Management Program Manager. And what that title is affectionately known as is the hippy dippy. So I thought I'd share that with you.
That's wonderful. So I was just trying to show you that I do understand a lot about religion. And
there you go. You understood. I'm going to look up animism.
Yeah. And I'll send you a thing on it. Yeah, animism to me is a totally widespread belief that a lot of people have. They just don't know that is what they have. In a sense, well, because also, see, an animist would never be a person to force people to believe their belief. So I think by that alone, they would always be respectful because they work inside of life, no matter, I'm saying that the thinking is totally different. So to me, a person if they were an animist and they were an evangelist animist, they would only be saying we should all connect with nature. It would, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be, you need to believe like me.
Right. I don't feel that. And I really credit, when I was in my early 20s, I traveled a lot, and I felt that which I call God in Buddhist temples, Hindu temples, in Muslim homes, and that's when I started realizing that wow, we're all very connected, and no one's version is wrong. I mean, and I've felt that in some of my dearest friends are atheists, and to me, they're some of the most spiritual people I know, because they're doing amazing work without that having to. I don't know if that comes with religion.
Yeah.
It's
I feel I have to. So I feel like, in a sense, I'm obligated to, but I feel it for a different reason. I feel like I'm a member of life.
Right.
And because I'm here, and we all, to me, need each other, I'm obligated to want to help for that reason. But it's my humanity, as you talk about. My humanity is fully alive in me, even though my belief in gods is fully dead. My humanity, though, is fully alive.
I understand. And you know what's funny? That I'm grateful and blessed that I met you, because my eldest son has told me he doesn't believe in God.
Yeah.
And he believes in science. And so I really want him to see some of your things, because I think it would be helpful to him.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's wrong in any way. I'm so happy and thankful, because I always said I would accept my children no matter what. And I feel like that was a big test for me, since...
Well, just so you know, it is fully possible that someone could be an animist and an atheist. I'm not. But like I told you, though, I do value the way that animists, in a sense, look at the world. I just don't agree with the magic they see. But how they operate in the world, I'm kind of trying to do the same thing. I want to be connected with people. I want to fit into life, in a sense, even though I'm trying to, say what I feel. I do feel that that's why I didn't read the animist book, because I was just trying to destroy it. I wanted to understand. And once I understood, I started getting myself. I realized that I myself, just like you talked about in the book, that people have this opinion about certain religious thinking that they're not, in a sense, seeing it globally. They're just saying, well, it's not like, say, Catholicism. Well, then it has to be whatever. And it really helped me to realize that I didn't realize. I tried not to be, bigoted on people's thinking, but it happens to me too. But so I really appreciate, though, that I read that he wrote that book, because I was like, you know what? I guess I was like, because he was saying that people see it as primitive or something, but it's not. It's actually more connected to me. And that's what he talked about in the book, that it's more connected. Like I said, even though I don't connect to it, I see it, because my thing, though, in general, is not just that I don't believe. That to me is the smallest thing. I don't believe. Okay, now what? Now what's the rest of my life am I going to do? And I know that there's a bunch of atheists that get really into the God concept. I don't really. To me, I don't know what a God is. When people say God, nobody has, to me, the same, in a sense, understanding of that word. Even spiritual, I always think, what do you mean? Because I personally don't have that. If you mean feelings, I understand that. If you mean care, I understand that. I'm just saying, people use it different. But if you ask 10 people to give, they all wouldn't have the exact same. So I realized, to me...
No, it's personal. You can't describe it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So for me, I realized that what I need to hear is not the word, but the feelings. Because the feelings I can connect with. That's what I was saying, like what I learned by reading the Animist book. Because before I read that, I would have had a lot more negative view. But after reading that, it gave me a new appreciation that for people that I had not previously had. So that's also why I feel like that I can give you a blog that your son might like. It's educational. Basically, it shows the progression of religion, and has my art too, where I draw. But the reason I do that stuff is so that people know. I want people to understand, because if you understand your context and stuff, because see, I even think that that my book will help people be a lot nicer to certain religions, like I said, animism and stuff, because they're going to understand the context of things differently.
Right, we need to be nicer, and we need to, for my children, I really want them to get to know themselves. I want them to know who they are, to master what is their craft, What are they here to do? I believe religiously, is that we're here for service. And so I do feel strongly about that with my children, that we need to serve others.
I think that's what I'm trying to do. I want to be a service of the world. I want to be a good person.
Well, that's wonderful. See?
Yeah.
We have so much in common.
We did. That's why I wanted to talk. That's why well, and like I said, to me, it like you were saying too, it's about looking at the world and not just seeing the difference, but seeing where I connect to people.
Yes, we have so much in common. And there's I think I only believe in looking at differences to learn, but not to create barriers.
Yeah.
I definitely like to look at differences because I love learning. I learned a lot of things from our conversation right now that I'm going to look up. I've never heard of animism.
Yeah, which is so funny because, I mean, I know you haven't. I didn't really know that much about it either, so don't feel bad. Before I learned about it, I didn't even. Well, because to me, the progression of religion starts. To me, I'll just say real quick to people. So it starts in animism is 100,000 years old, 50,000 years old in Europe, but starting in Africa is totemism, the creation of. See, let me say real quick. So animism is like a spirit belief. Totemism is like the objects that you create to support the spirit belief and the classification of things. Shamanism comes at 30,000 years old from Siberia and Inner Mongolia, but basically Siberia and Russia, all the way up there. But anyway, so Siberia, it's basically you get the shamans. The shamans to me is like a throwback to the animism. It's like they were animist, the totemists that started classifying everything. Then the shamans came along and went, yeah, that's too much extremist. Let's go back to the more openness. So they kind of go back more open, but then it at 12,000 years ago it becomes paganism because of the agricultural revolution. The inventions of goddesses happened first, then gods. So goddesses happen at 12,000 to me, and you know this because all grains have goddess names. And grains go back to the original, like 14,000 years ago of us collecting grains in the fertile, crescent of Mesopotamia and Turkey and Israel and Egypt. So then after that point, then 5,000 years ago, you have what I consider organized religion with you have Egypt, making the first kings in a sense. Because before that, Egypt used to bury female goddess figures in their graves, but after that point, right about 5,000 something, 5,100 or something, they start burying it with males. So to me, that's you can see and then the first or the oldest women's right documents is 4,000 years old, from Turkey and Mesopotamia making a treaty. It's just amazing that you look at the history of the stuff for me, and it's like, wow.
Well, I really want to read your book, Damien. I think I would learn a lot from it, and I hope just self-publish, because I think your audience is going to be people, general people in the public, which is good, thank God, because that group is so
you heard yourself say it, didn't you? Right?
Pardon?
Is that why you paused because you heard yourself say God?
Yes. I think you know enough about me that.
Oh, that's fine. No, I understand. I'm not trying to rib you. I'm just saying it's funny because my mom would do the same thing. She'll say, "I'll pray for you," and I'm like, "Well, I don't really care about prayer, but I understand your feeling for me."
Right. Well, and if I was speaking to you in that realm, I would want to say, I'm sending you good thoughts.
I can appreciate that.
I'm sending you well wishes, and
there you go.
Yes. But I think now that we know each other a little better, I trust that when I say that, it's just about.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm saying, too, is that I always tell people, just because I have strong ideas does not mean I'm a bigot. I'm not ridiculous. I always tell people, in fact, some of my atheist friends, how strong I am, are always surprised when I talk to some, not all, but some people that are theists. I'm like really super kind. I always say, yeah, but as long as they're not trying to tell me that I have to accept this as a reality, or they're not pushing it on me and they're just talking about themselves, I generally don't have a problem with people, because I feel that people own themselves. They have a right to believe it. I don't tell you what to believe. I feel that would be wrong. So
I feel the same way. I just really like to make people feel comfortable. So I try
It's a good person.
Like with my Jewish friends, I try really hard not to say Merry Christmas. Or with my Native American friends, I don't want to say Happy Thanksgiving. That's a little offensive to them.
Oh yes, I got it. But I think that's a good quality though. That to me is one of the reasons why, obviously you exude that sort of openness, and why I wanted to talk to you to begin with.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. I love compliments, but I also like compliments that are genuine, and I'm really trying to give you genuine compliments. So
I appreciate that, and I really thank you for this opportunity. I think you're a wonderful person, and
thank you.
I really appreciate that. All of your efforts, I know your book isn't out yet, but to put all of that effort into showing the history of something that I've never really seen, to be honest with you. So we're going to
stop you right there, just so you know. Don't feel bad. If anyone listening, don't feel bad. There's a lot of people, including archaeologists and stuff, that are not fully aware of the stuff that I've been working. I've read at least 10,000 research articles. I
don't feel bad. I'm really.
Well, I was just saying. What I was saying is that if you don't know, that's all I was saying. If you don't know, don't feel bad. There's plenty of atheists that have never heard of the word Anarchism either. I didn't know what it was. So I'm just saying. That's all I meant is don't feel bad, because a lot of people do not know. That's why I'm also struggling now, is because I'm trying to write it like you were saying it, more like a high school level, not like doctorate.
Yes, write it for the general public so that we can learn.
Yeah.
Because I want to learn, and I know if I want to learn, there's thousands of other people, and my wish for you is that you encounter all the people you need to encounter in order to get your publication out there, so that we can all learn.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. And I want everyone to go out and buy your book so that they can support, a wellness life.
Thank you. Yes.
Go show us the book again.
Live Your Best Life.
Yes.
And I will tell you that one of the people I admire most, he's 92, led an amazing life. And he read my book, which I was really shocked that he'd read it, because he doesn't need to. He's wealthy, healthy, good man. And he said, Karla, I wish everyone would read your book, because you talk about how to get organized and how about money wellness, so that you can support all the other aspects of being well. And so that was a huge compliment.
Well, I think that's great. You deserve it.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, because I got to go. So I really thank you for your time. And I definitely am open to talking again if you want.
Sure, we should. I'd want to learn more from you.
Absolutely. Well,
have an amazing day. Thank you.
Yes, have a good day. Bye.